All right, today I'm going to talk about the SBH Pencil. Now, the SBH Pencil is an awesome big bass plug. So when we were first designing this plug and when I first got my hands on it, the thing that I noticed right away about it was the fact that this thing can cast like you wouldn't believe. Now, it's not a very heavy plug, and so the fact that this thing can cast so far, so accurately is unbelievable. And at 6 inches, you would think, well, not a lot of really big bass are gonna wanna go after it. But you'd be surprised with the action that you can get off this plug. You can get really big, finicky bass to come up and hit it. And that was something that right away, people on Cape Ann, other fishermen that I know that started fishing with this, started absolutely crushing monster striped bass on it. And it's all in the way that it walks. It has this very nice walking action back and forth, very similar to a spook. And that gives off a profile that matches a ton of the bait fish that are in my area of Cape Ann, that being adult Atlantic menhaden, mackerel, herring, all sorts of different things. And I fished this from the spring all the way through the fall. I was in the rivers fishing this and catching bass. I went off the rocks and was catching bass with this. I mean, they just were, it was one of those plugs where I was talking to a lot of my other friends that were catching really big bass on it. And they're saying, well, the thing that makes this so special is I'll be fishing with a ton of other plugs, ton of other topwater plugs, whether that be poppers or spooks or whatever. And I'll put this on and all of a sudden I start catching fish. And for whatever reason, the action that this plug has, it just culls fish. And I remember a couple of stories here that I heard, and like secondhand stories here that I heard. One of which was a friend of mine was out fishing off the rocks and there was a ton of bluefish around and everyone's hooked up on bluefish to the left and right of him. He starts throwing this pencil out and all of a sudden, boom, a giant bass comes out of the water and eats his plug. The tail's going on the surface of the water, the whole thing. Everyone's shocked because there hadn't been big bass caught all season off the rocks yet. And so for that fish to have just materialized out of nowhere was just insane. And it runs and he goes on like many really solid runs. He gets it up close to the rocks. Unfortunately, a wave catches it and sucks it back out and snaps him off. But we were joking about it because that one plug culling those bigger fish, or culling bass in general, out of a school of bluefish is hard to do. And then similarly, like 2 months later, I'm fishing and I'm hooked into a bluefish. The bluefish spits my plug. I start working the pencil again. All of a sudden, 46-inch bass smashes it. I ended up landing that fish. That was a beautiful, really big bass. I mean, the head on that thing was absolutely enormous. I thought it was gonna be bigger than it was when I first saw it. I was like, holy smokes, that's a nice fish. But it was really extraordinary that this plug pulled a bass, another big bass, out of a school of bluefish. And that's what we were dealing with all season, was a ton of big bluefish. And the wild thing was, sometimes those bluefish were being a little picky, so you couldn't really get them on other plugs. This thing, if you really wanted the bluefish to chew it up, was absolutely smoking the bluefish. There was a period of time where it was actually kind of difficult to get them to eat, where the bluefish were being very picky, and it seemed like having that slower walking action on the surface was getting twice as many bites as everyone else. So you're going out there and catching 10, 20, 30 bluefish in a morning, and everyone else was catching maybe 10 or 5 or 10 at the most. I mean, it was not even close to how many that the SBH Pencil was getting. And those little experiences really made me see the power of this thing. And then another funny story was I went to New Jersey this fall for a quick trip, and I was fishing there, and what happened there was there was a blitz going on, or some sort of a feed, and I ended up catching maybe 5 or 6 35, 38 inch bass. And there was a guy to the left and right of me, and they both came over and were like, "Man, what are you throwing?" And I was like, "I'm throwing this floating pencil." And they were both throwing sinking pencils, and they weren't hooking up. So it's pretty extraordinary that the power of this pencil and the way that this pencil just outfishes almost any other topwater plug out there right now is pretty wild. And I know I am a little biased because I helped design this plug, but it is one of those things that we really worked hard to find something that we really loved and really believed in. And we finally found a plug that like matched the action that we wanted. And it really is a top producer in a lot of plug bags around Cape Ann. And I know it's starting to extend further north and south, and people are catching some really serious bass on it. And the greatest part is, for a plug of this caliber, it's actually a very affordable plug at $24. So you can totally pick up a whole bunch of these and not be afraid to fish it, where other plugs like guppy plugs are $30, $35 for one small like guppy of similar size. I mean, it's insane when you look at other custom plugs. So to be able to have a pencil that catches like this does and comes with really nice hardware like this does, it really produces very, very well. I highly suggest picking some of these up for the holidays, and if not the holidays, just picking some of these up for next season, because oh my gosh, they are absolutely extraordinary. I've caught some really unbelievable fish on it, and I've had a lot of friends that have caught some great bass on this, and it's pretty amazing when I see these pictures coming back of monster fish. So again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to pick some of these up, there's going to be a link in my description to grab some of these plugs. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Tons more to come.